Before this event, I spent numerous evenings researching and brainstorming what to discuss for today's evening. I started staring at my laptop screen, looking at today's TEDx theme, prepare for launch. And somehow the word launch reminded me of a space rocket. In NASA's view, a space rocket being able to launch into the atmosphere, millions of miles above our heads, means a successful mission to them. And I believe everyone has a space rocket within their minds, their own ambitions, their own dreams, their own desires, their own version of themselves, and their pathway and definitions to success. So before I start my talk, I want to make a disclaimer that in the world of 8 billion people, my listed examples of definitions do not represent everyone. You create your own definition and your pathway to success. There may be some people around there judging you, but the one experiencing the suffer, pain, joy, and accomplishment is you. So let me take an example from a classic novel, The Great Gatsby. The meaning of success in The Great Gatsby is living the American dream, which means gaining a large amount of wealth and a well-respected status. Many people are extremely judgmental about materialism, but really, whether your version of being materialistic or not is your take on the matter. And thinking deeper, there is a reason for every version of success. However, not everybody wants to seek a materialistic life. And recently in China, there is a concept within younger generations developing called 躺平, which in direct translation means lie flat. Whether you agree or not, it is their vision of a successful life, a successful pathway to life. They choose to lower their social status and financial ambitions, merely prioritizing their mental quality of life, reducing stress traditionally faced in workplace and societal expectations, trading off the materialistic enjoyment in their life as well. All they want is a simple life. Let me take another example where you all might relate better on schools. Traditionally, schools focus heavily on academics. However, education authorities slowly realize that there's not just one path to success. There's a saying where an A in an exam doesn't mean anything after you left school. It might be too definite for a statement, but really, grades are a great tool that could assess the ability of a student on a specific area. But the specific area might not be the area they shine on. There's also a large part of student population who work with their hands. And so recently, the IB has introduced the career-related program in response to this trend, setting students off ready for their vocational skill sets that they could directly apply on their career pathways. Of course now, students have the freedom to choose between the academic DP path or the vocational and career-related program. Adults in the society also have the freedom to choose whether they want to have a materialistic or a spiritual life. We can see that in the century where diversity is valued, there are many definitions and pathways to success. But whether you can be successful in your version and your pathway of success is another question. So now I'll be talking about how to be successful in your way. My vision of success is to nail the IB and go into a good university. Cliché, right? But I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, and this is also why you study hard, right? You want to set yourself ready and successful. So I first joined RC in year 7. I was not coping well because of my local education background. There was clashes with the curriculums. And I was doing below average, but I know it isn't an accurate representation of my ability. So then I set a clear goal and strategy to myself. I worked harder on my weaker subjects such as math, and I also constantly self-evaluated after every assessment I've done. Towards the end of MYP in year 11, I've gained 15 more points than I've achieved in year 7. Through my experience of striving from the bottom, I've gathered 3 points that I believe is essential to walk confidently in your pathway of success. The first point that I believe is essential is to have a clear goal, clear definition of the goal to yourself. And make sure not to be too ambitious on your definition of being successful, because it will become a mental burden that you will need to carry once it becomes a strong vision in your mind, but you just couldn't achieve it. For me, I usually set 90% as my goal. 95% most. The reason of this is because I'm trying to trick my mind. Even if I can achieve it, I'll still have less of a disappointment. But if I have achieved more than the definition of that goal, I've tricked my mind into thinking that I've achieved more than what I was looking for. Little encouragement gives huge boost and motivation to yourself. And this leads me to my next point. Be humble in your journey to success. In Asian households, there is always a joke where A means average, B means below average, and C means catastrophic. The reason my parents say this isn't because they want to be cruel to their children, but sometimes they just love their children too much and they expect a lot on their children that they want them to become extraordinarily successful. And it is once you become too self-satisfied to the stage of being complacent, you have no motivation to work harder next time and to improve. Then you'll be forever stuck at the spot that you have been complacent about. And once you realize you're behind of the game, it's too late to catch up. I'm not saying no to positive messages. Instead, please treat yourself kind. Give kind words to yourself. Give motivation to yourself. But have some self-awareness. Talking about self-awareness, a lot of people are lost track on where they're at. And they start to compare themselves with their peers. But that is absolutely wrong because everyone has their own unique definition to success. If you want to know where you're at in your progress to success, compare yourself with your own self before. Don't be too narrow-minded and think you're the best without looking at where others are at. But at the same time, in order to have a meaningful evaluation of your progress, compete with your past self. Or else it will become a real application of the tortoise and hare tale, where you as the hare had an advantage at first. But then you have been complacent and stopped at where you felt you're comfortable at. At the end, the tortoise who has continuously made achievements and made little progress overpassed you. And so, the end of story is to be humble. There are always people better than you, and you always have a better self. There's always somewhere that you can develop further and learn further. I don't believe in peak capacity for people. There's always somewhere that you can evaluate and improve on. So there are billions of pathways and definitions to success. You define your own success. Please be kind to yourself and encourage yourself. Be humble. Thank you for listening, and good luck on your journeys to success.